Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. The following story that you are going to be listening to, it was sent to me by one of our dear brothers, and the message reads like this. Hello, Brother Nashi, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? My brother, I have come here on your platform because I have a confession that I want to share with you. My confession, it goes on like this. Brother Nashi, I am a man who has done some evil things against his own wife. So my wife, she had 2 miscarriages. And when she had the second miscarriage, it was as if her womb was rotting inside her own body. Then the doctors had to perform an operation on her so as to remove her womb because it was swollen, as well as it was already going bad, so they removed her womb. But I am the reason as to why she faced all of these challenges. It is all because of me. Brother Nashi, what happened is that, us men, sometimes we just need to be with a different woman. When I had gotten used to my wife, I then said it is far much better for me to find someone who can please me, but I didn't want anything that was going to be very serious. And as someone who has a lot of money, Brother Nashi, I didn't want to have a girlfriend who was going to take advantage of me later on. I just wanted to do this thing that we men call hit and run, whereby you go, then you buy the services of a prostitute. So there was this other prostitute who was from Zim. So I went and I spoke with her and we agreed on the price. So me and her, we went and we had our short time, and we really had a nice time. After we had our short time, to my surprise, when I was about to leave, she said, "Baby, the way that you have done me good, you have just done me too good, and I do not want to let go of you. Can you please take my number?" I really felt great when this woman was telling me that I had done her really good. So I then took her phone numbers, and regularly I was communicating with her. Whenever I felt that I wanted to taste some meat that was not my wife, I would go and I will taste her flesh. Then I will give her some money. It then happened that this woman told me that she had totally fallen in love with me. And at the same time, Brother Nashi, I had fallen in love with her. It was like love at first time. That is how I fell in love with a prostitute. So what I started doing is that I was paying her rent as well as her food. I was taking care of her. As a man who has a lot of businesses, it was quite easy for me to go to this shop, then I will go to that shop, collect some money, then I would go and give this prostitute, who is now my girlfriend. And with the money that I was giving her, I then saw that she didn't want to let me go. She wanted to become my second wife, and I made that promise to her that now she was going to be my second wife. But I didn't have the courage to tell my first wife that I wanted a second wife. So I kept on doing this thing in secret. I would lie to my wife that I am going somewhere, but I'll be going to sleep with this woman who was once a prostitute wife. I was taking care of her, Brother Nashi. What I even did is that I went with her to Capitec and I opened a bank account for her because I wanted it to be easy for me to transfer some money from my main account then into the Capitec account whenever she wanted money. And this I did because I was afraid that the more that I keep on sending her some e-wallets, some money, then my wife one day maybe she'll check my bank statement and all of these transactions that were so suspicious. She was going to ask me about these transactions. So in secret, me and my girlfriend, we went and we opened up an account. So there was a time when my wife's uncle kept on complaining when he was telling us that their boss was telling them that they needed to have at least some accounts, but he was unable to open an account. So my wife asked me if it was possible, since I had not yet opened a Capitec account. I have all the accounts with all the major banks here in South Africa, only Capitec. But I then saw that if I go with my wife to Capitec, then she's going to find out that already I have an account there. This is not what I wanted to happen. So I then lied to my wife and I said, I do not want anyone to use my account. No, I do not want that. He has to make other plans. The reason as to why I said I do not want anyone to use my bank account, it was because I was afraid that she was going to find out that I have a girlfriend, because she does not know that I have a girlfriend whom I have a child with. So I refused. Then my wife went and she opened up a bank account for her uncle, Brother Nashi. But if this was the case, I'll say at least we as men, this is what we do. But I even went a step further. The more that I fell in love with this prostitute, the more that she would whisper sweet words into my ears. I remember one day, me and her, after we had finished our love making, she then started to whisper romantic words in my ears, and she said, oh daddy, I have a confession that I want to make. Oh, please promise me that when I confess to you, you are not going to get angry. I said, oh my love, why will I ever get angry at you? Look at your beauty. I'll never get angry at you. She then said, well, baby, if you say that you will not get angry at me, my confession is like this. I once went to a traditional healer, and I said, why did you go to a traditional healer? She said, listen to me first. I have these charms, this love potion that I was given. So I was supposed to cook some food for you tonight, and I was supposed to put those love potions in that food. I got so scared, and I said, why will you ever do that? She then said, it is because, baby, I have fallen in love with you, and I want you all to myself. I want you to dump your first wife. And I said, you know that I cannot do that, and I love you a lot. Why would you want to use some love charms on me? That was when she said, okay, I am going to throw them away, but promise me one more thing. And I said, anything that you want, oh baby girl. That is when me and her, we went to these other prophets. I think that we went to 5 different prophets. So whenever we would go to these prophets, this prophet, what they will do is that they will perform these prayers, which they call soul tying. My soul is tied to this prostitute. Her soul is also tied to my own soul. We can never be apart, for this is what she asked me to do. She said, if you love me, let us go around so that we can have our souls tied together. And I did this. We even went to a traditional healer together. She then gave me a charm, and she said, baby, if you love me, take this charm, and I want you to go and place it inside your wife's pillowcase. Do this for 3 days. Please, my love, promise me that for these 3 days, you'll be making love to her. When it will be in the evening, that is when you should put it inside a pillowcase. When the morning will come, you have to take it and hide it somewhere else. Brother Nashi, I did this for 3 good days, making love to my wife like no man's business. Then after 3 days, I then returned to the love of my life, who was more like a second wife to me. We stayed together. That was when I found out that my wife had fallen pregnant, but unfortunately, she then had a miscarriage. When we went to the doctors, so that the remaining parts of the baby that was growing inside her womb had to be removed, because the baby, when it came out, the body parts were all over the place, as if there was something that was breaking this baby's body parts. So the doctors then said that it was a wise decision for us not to try to have a child again. So my wife, she was now on a birth control pill. When this thing happened, that was when my girlfriend fell pregnant, and we have a child together. My wife does not know about this thing. She then gave me another charm, and she said, oh baby, if you love me, please go and do that same ritual that you once did on your wife, because I love you a lot. I do not want to share you with anyone. I then went and I did the same process, and Brother Nashi, my wife fell pregnant. But the problem is that when the implantation happened, the embryo or whatever, the baby, then implanted itself outside of the uterus. We went to the doctors, and they said that they were supposed to remove this, otherwise my wife was going to die. They then the operation was done, but my wife's uterus, it was rotting, Brother Nashi. It was swollen. Even up until today, my wife still suffers because of this thing that happened to her. I feel guilty about this thing that happened. It is like I'm the one who has to be blamed. Please post my own story on your platform. I regret this thing that I did, but because of the love that I had for this prostitute, this is what made me to do all this crazy stuff, to perform these rituals against my wife. Yo, dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our dear brothers. Strange things do happen in this world.